So, hi everybody and welcome back to the C++ tutorial series for absolute beginners. This is video 86 and in this video we are talking about a new keyword which is Goto. Goto is actually not a keyword which is preferred to use, and the reason for that is it can cause that the code is very hard to read and very hard to follow, and the reason why is that so I will show you in a moment. So let's get started. First of all, what is a Goto statement? A Goto statement, let's create here an example and then it's easier to explain what a Goto statement is. First of all, you need one information. A Goto statement can be used only in a function. So for example, I can't write Goto outside. It will complain that this will not work. So I can write Goto in a function, and let's write in our main function. And as you can see, here is also our function from our last video where we created a function who adds two number, and I keep this one so we can demonstrate some more examples here. So let's continue. So I write in my int main a Goto, and Goto means like the word it says, go to a special place. I want that you go to a place where I marked during in this function. Right now you see we have marked nothing, so this Goto can't go anywhere. First of all, we have marked a place in this function so that this Goto can go to this place. For example, I want that the Goto jumps to this place here, let's say after this place here, so here, then I must mark this, and marking means here in this case write a name which is then an identifier, and this Goto will use this name to go exactly to this place. So I write here an identifier, just a name, and I call it jump here. Jump here, and important is that we have not only just write a name, we have to use also this colon. Now we have a jump here label. This one is called a label, which means this one can be used by the Goto keyword. And the reason how we use it, we just write this name here with the Goto. That's it. So, and then a semicolon after this one. And now we have a complaint already. So that's also interesting. And let's format this first so that we have the formatting. Yeah. And let's see what the complaint is. That's very important to know here. No, and let's read a little bit. So it says here, initialization of my second number is skipped by Goto jump here. So you can see that is the second thing which we have to consider. Goto will go exactly to the label which you declared here at this point here. Label means all-time name, so it will more or less jump to this place. So which means it will not execute this code here, which means we have a problem. If it's not executing this code, this variable what I have declared here is not visible for the compiler. So that is not working, and that's why we have this complaint here on the bottom. Initializer of my second number is skipped by Goto, and that can cause many problems because actually your code is not working the way I used it here. So we can't use it that way, but we can use it this way. I can say I put the label, actually I write the Goto here on the bottom and put the label on the top. So this one will work. And why? Because now we have no complaints about skipping. We are going indeed back, right? We go from here back to this line. And when I start this one, you see there is no complaint. So at least at this point. And the next thing here is there is a second problem. So what is the second problem? The second problem is how I use this Goto. So let's go in main. I see I declare a variable and default with default value here the same. But then I use this Goto keyword and jump from this place back to this place here on top, and then the compiler will continue from this point on, right? And it will be stuck at this point actually. So this one, what I made here, is a loop, right? And that's why I have here nothing out. And so we have to think carefully how we are using Goto. And in general, they say Goto is a bad practice, which I mentioned at the start. The reason for that is, first of all, you see this jump back must be, yeah, you must be careful how to use it. And this jump back is simulating a loop more or less. And in this case, it makes no sense because we know already how to loop, how to use a while loop, for example, or a for loop and other ways to loop. So this loop can of course be done with a Goto too, but yes, it's not the way to go nowadays after you learned while loop and for loop. So let's continue. The next problem with this Goto is it can cause a so-called spaghetti code. And what is this so-called spaghetti code? The so-called spaghetti code means you are jumping like we did here from this place on this top here. And this thing you can do, of course, with many other things as well. Let me show you this one. For example, here is a good example how Goto can be used very useful. So this is one of the rare cases, I would say, how they use a Goto with a meaningful yeah, the Goto keyword meaningful. Let's see, I just copied this one here. Let's copy this one. Let's throw it just for fun into our loop here. Let's see which complaints. First of all, let's delete this Goto because this was a bad example. And now we have a better example. Let's hope so. And now you can see here is a for loop. Here they made a for loop. Here they made an output. And we learned this all, right? So I hope that you are trained a little bit and see that what they did here is all what we know. And at this line, they made just a if, and the only thing what they made a little bit different is they put it not nicely down. Perhaps this one is a little bit bad, but yeah, we know this as well because we train a little bit how they made it, because this is the way I did this in this tutorials, and I think this is a little bit more visible. So, and then here they jump out of the loop. So, and then they jump actually here down. So instead of checking all conditions here, if they can jump here out or whatever, they say just after a certain condition, jump out of the loop, and that's it. Let's test it if this works. Let's see what they did, and we have here what they did. So they looped, they make here for loop, and then this condition they said if x plus y is greater 3, and in this case it is, because the next one would be actually it was here already, 1 plus 2 is equal 3, and then they said jump out. Right, so that was one use case of Goto where it makes sense because this thing was nested. So, and yeah, there is actually not much to tell about Goto because we will not use it. The reason for that is, like I said, for these structures, they use most time other things. Like this is one of the rare solution where Goto makes sense, and there are some more, but in general you can use other solutions for a Goto. And let me show this here. Later, when you can see here in this example, let's skip this top thing here. You see they make here a label. They make here a label. A label means just a name where the Goto can jump. They make here a label. And then they make here a label. So we have here actually, for example, in this code, what they produced, 4 labels. And now the Goto can jump from here to this label. Then Goto can jump from this to this label. And then where's the next label? Goto can jump to this label. And that's the problem with this Goto. Later, when you have, let's say, a little bit more complicated code than this one, because this code is actually not that complicated what we see here, but later there can be much more complicated codes. And when you are going to use this Goto jump from here to here, okay, that's easy. That was the best case actually. Let's say here object 3, go to label 3. Okay, this is just escape. This is also not that worse. But what I wanted to show is actually when you jump from here back, and here they made a while loop. Actually, this what they show here are not bad examples. Let's say so. This is more, let's say, more positive examples. There are worse examples, and yeah, just in general. We try to avoid Goto in general as a beginner, but later when you are a little bit more used to it, of course you can figure out where you can use it. For example, this was the example which I showed you, where it is perhaps a good place. And here on the bottom they also say why Goto is considered a harmful keyword. That is a little bit more history, because there was reasons why it was not so considered. And the worst problem, they say, it's because the spaghetti code, and the spaghetti code means just they are jumping from one to another place and they can't follow it anymore, because this jumps cause considerations that they say, okay, wait a minute, what does the code, why it's jumping there, why it is skipping that, and so on. And that in a more complicated system, this will cause headaches for programmers. And in a case like this, if you are trained, it can help sometimes. And this is one of this case where I said this solution is very easy, and this is a rare solution, because in general Goto will cause problems. So, and why I'm telling you that when Goto is causing problems, because we as a programmer must know all keywords. This is one reason. We as a programmer must know to read this Goto, and we as a programmer must know also what this strange name here is when they show it, for example, with a colon. So we must realize and recognize it what it is, so that we can understand it, because perhaps you are not using this Goto, but perhaps anyone else is using this Goto, and you have to be able to understand what he is trying to do, or like that. So with that said, I will stop this video here. And like all time, if you have any questions or complaints, just write it in a comment, and bye.